Hello, what's up? Happy Monday. I'm so excited to be here with you. It's going to be a quickie, but it's going to be a good one. So we're going to make this happen. Thank you so much for joining. I appreciate your time. I appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedule just for me. And so I want to make sure we make that time count. So a couple of quick housekeeping things. The first thing, if you're watching this, know someone that needs it, tag them. You can also share. Sharing is caring. The last thing is, if you're watching it later, it's not live, don't even worry about it. Just put hashtag replay in the comments. Let me know that you were here. So today we're talking about breaking through the shame of COVID. In a second, I'm going to tell you why we're talking about that. But let me go ahead and tell you who I am if you don't know. So if you are not sure who I am, or you're like, who is this Dr. Erica? Well, I'm Dr. Erica, Harvard-trained, double board-certified psychiatrist and integrative lifestyle coach. I'm extremely passionate about helping people be better so they can do better and ultimately live better. I do that through my adult telepsychiatry, my speaking, and my books. One of my superpowers is making mental health practical so that you can claim that life that you were actually created for. Because who doesn't want that life? I want that life. You want that life? So we're talking about breaking through the shame of COVID. The reason we're talking about this is I was actually on the phone. I was having a conversation with two friends, and we're just talking. Somehow the topic of COVID came up. And one person noted that they felt kind of embarrassed or ashamed that they had COVID. And through just seeing numerous conversations, is you notice that there's almost a stigma at times around it, that you'll see people are kind of like, how'd you get it? You must have been out. You must have been doing something. So this assumption that a lot of people commonly have that if you caught it, you were maybe doing something reckless. And I want to speak to that because there are plenty of people that have been doing what they were supposed to do, doing the best they could with all of the precautions. And also earlier in the pandemic, the precautions were really relatively unclear. So there are plenty of people who were not reckless who happened to catch COVID. It is an infectious disease. It's a highly contagious infectious disease. And the one thing we all do know is that there's a risk for all of us. You can do everything right and still get it. Now, the ideal is you do everything right and that keep you from getting it. But there are some people that are going to do everything right or do the best they can. It's hard to be totally perfect. That's going to do the best they can and still get it. And I want to encourage people to still have grace and compassion and not to automatically assume that someone was just reckless, living their best life and caught COVID. Part of that is because one of the things that's really important for us to make it through this whole pandemic is we're going to get through this pandemic with love and connection. And the thing that happens when we have all of this judgment around how you got COVID, why you got COVID, is that causes quite a bit of shame. And that shame gets in the way of the connection. So one of the ways we make it through this crazy time, this pandemic, is with each other and through all these connections and these interpersonal relationships. And if people feel ashamed or embarrassed, then that's going to impair the ability to connect. So it's going to potentially make them feel uncomfortable with sharing or connecting. But also the people that may be judging, that's going to impair the ability for people to connect with them. And it's so important for us to connect to make it through all of this. And I think it's so important that we continue to work on kind of our inner judger. Like everyone has this inner judger, this inner voice that judges everybody and judges ourselves. And it takes practice to quiet that. It takes practice to give grace. It takes practice to give grace to ourselves and to other people. It takes grace. And I just want to encourage people to show others that grace, to show themselves grace, to have compassion and empathy, because nobody wants to catch COVID. COVID sucks. It does. It sucks. But I don't want us to be in a situation where we're blaming everyone that got it, because that's not helping anybody. It doesn't help the people that have had it. It doesn't help the people that haven't had it. It doesn't help anybody to be judging people on whether they got COVID and start hypothesizing on how. So I just wanted to come on for a moment and share that. So really quickly, if you're watching this, I appreciate it. You can tag people that you know that need this message. You can share it. Sharing is caring. The last thing is, if you're watching it later, put hashtag replay in the comments. Just let me know you were here. I really appreciate it. So tonight we're talking about breaking that shame surrounding COVID, and just about how there's so many people that I've seen and they're out there that feel ashamed or judged because they've had COVID, and just teaching and reminding all of us to not jump to conclusions when we hear someone had COVID. You know, I don't want a situation, and I've seen it happen before, where it comes out someone had COVID and then people start, it's almost like they're in an interrogation. How'd you get it? You must have been doing something. And I just don't want us to come at it with that spirit. And there are times people make mistakes. And if someone was what we would consider maybe reckless, it doesn't do any good to throw it in their face anyway. So there's really no reason to be going down that road. It's not going to get any of us anywhere, because we need to be worried about connecting and keeping our own sanity and our mental health good. So I just want to encourage all of you to continue to work on our inner judgers, that inner voice, and to work on giving ourselves and others compassion and grace and quiet the judgment. So that's what I have for you tonight. Thank you so much for coming. I told you it was going to be quick. Oh, I told you we're going to be quick. You know, you got the kitchen today because we're being quick. So thanks again for joining. Again, I'll be on tomorrow. Growth Groove with Dr. Erica comes on Tuesdays. So it comes on every Tuesday. So I'll be on tomorrow at 7. Then I'll be on Wednesday at 7. Then next week starts my new schedule, where I'm just going to be here on YouTube on Tuesdays and Wednesdays. Because, you know, I talked to you about doing things to manage your sanity and to do self-care. And for me, running from clinic onto here and then to class, it's a bit much. So I'm going to take a break for myself so that I'm fully refreshed for you. So I'm going to do Tuesdays and Wednesdays. So next week will be Tuesdays and Wednesdays. But this week I'll still be on Tuesday and Wednesday at 7 Eastern. So thanks again for coming. Make sure you do your usual homework. Call at least one person and tell them that you love them. They will appreciate it. Again, I'm your host, Dr. Erica, Harvard-trained, double board certified psychiatrist and integrative lifestyle coach. I'm on a mission to help you be better, do better, and live better. I do that through my books, my speaking, and my adult telepsychiatry practice. I make mental health practical so that you can get that life that you've always been created for. So let's get to it. So again, thanks for coming. As usual, you know, I do have this free book, The Overwhelm Solution Blueprint. Check it out. It has practical solutions, and a lot of people have been saying over and over how overwhelmed they are. So you need this in your life. Go to overwhelmblueprint.com. overwhelmblueprint.com. I need to just let the ticker speak for me. So that's all I have for you tonight, and have a great night. Thank you for coming.